Welcome to Past Unboxed. This is where we unpack ancient truth, timeless power, and the quiet decisions that change everything. In this audiobook, we're doing something different. We're not talking about superficial habits. We're not making a list of feel-good advice. We're exploring 9 real choices, quiet, difficult, soul-shaping choices that, if made consistently, can completely transform who you are. Not overnight, not with ease, but deeply, lastingly, truthfully. This isn't just about becoming better. It's about becoming truer. The person you were always meant to be, buried under expectations, fear, distraction, and old stories. In each part of this book, we'll explore one decision. Not a one-time act, but a daily choice. A mindset shift. A new way of showing up in the world. And if you walk with us through all 9, you may look in the mirror and finally recognize someone you've been waiting to meet for a long time. Yourself. So take a breath, get still, and let's begin. Choose presence over distraction. There's a moment, maybe it's in the middle of a conversation, or while you're lying in bed, or walking down a street you've walked 1,000 times, when you realize something unsettling. You weren't really there. You were physically present, yes. But mentally, emotionally, you were scrolling, replaying a thought, worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, or reliving something that already did. It's like your life is happening through you, but not with you. And if you're honest, it's not just a moment. It's most moments. Distraction has become your default. But here's the truth. You cannot change what you're not present for. You can't rebuild a life if you're never inside it. The first decision, the foundation for all the others, is this. Choose presence over distraction. And not just once. Every day, every hour, every breath if needed. Because the life you're looking for, the peace, the clarity, the growth, it doesn't exist in the next scroll, or the next fix, or the next achievement. It exists here, in this moment, in your breath, in your body, in your awareness. The ancient ones didn't talk about mindfulness in apps or Instagram quotes. They lived it because they had no choice. They watched fire crackle in silence. They sat with pain instead of escaping it through screens. They walked slowly, ate slowly, prayed slowly, because that was the pace of the soul. They understood what we've forgotten. Distraction is not just a bad habit. It's a slow death. It's the death of depth, of connection, of clarity, of the life that could have been lived more fully if only we had been there for it. Let's pause here. Ask yourself, how many meals have you eaten without tasting them? How many conversations have you nodded through without really listening? How many days have you moved through only to look back and realize you don't even remember them? This isn't judgment. It's an invitation. Because your life isn't missing anything external. It's missing you. And the decision to return again and again to the present moment is one of the most radical, powerful things you can do. But how? How do you choose presence in a world that sells distraction as a lifestyle? It starts small, with awareness. You catch yourself mid-scroll, mid-worry, mid-escape, and instead of following the impulse, you pause. You take a breath. You look around. You feel your body. You ask, gently, where am I right now? And can I be with this just for a moment? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes it's no. But even asking the question changes things. Presence is not perfection. It's the willingness to return. Try this. Once a day, take one small thing and do it with full presence. Make your coffee like it matters. Step into the shower as if it's the only one you'll get this week. Listen to someone like they're telling you a secret they've never told anyone. Sit in silence for 3 minutes and just be. No fixing, no improving, just being. These are not productivity hacks. They're reconnection rituals. Every time you come back to the moment, you're reminding your body, I'm safe. You're telling your mind, I'm here. You're teaching your soul, I'm listening. You may not notice massive change at first. It may feel subtle, soft, almost too simple. But over time, presence compounds. You'll start to feel more grounded in your decisions, more honest in your emotions, more awake in your relationships, more alive in your life. And that's not just growth, that's transformation. Because the person you're becoming, they don't live in a to-do list. They don't live in the future or the past. They live in the now. And if you don't meet them here, you'll miss them. So this is your first decision. Choose presence over and over again. When it's easy, when it's hard, when you forget. Because the more you return to the moment, the more you return to yourself. And once you're truly with yourself, every other decision becomes possible. Speak the truth, especially to yourself. Truth has a strange way of waiting. It doesn't knock loudly. It doesn't demand attention. It just waits in the background, quiet, patient, and at some point, usually in a moment of stillness or exhaustion or pain, it shows up, not to shame you, but to free you, because truth doesn't hurt. Hiding from it does. We've been taught to be polite, to be positive, to move on, to look in the mirror and say things we wish were true. But deep down, something inside us always knows when we're lying. And the lies we tell ourselves, those are the ones that damage us the most, because they separate us from who we really are. They keep us living in a false version of our lives, a version we can't fully connect with, can't fully heal from, and can't fully grow out of. So the second decision is this. Speak the truth, especially to yourself. This isn't about confessing your deepest secrets to others. It's not about guilt or confession or punishment. It's about alignment. Because you cannot build a real life on false ground. You cannot transform if you're constantly hiding from what's real, even inside your own head. Let's get honest for a moment. Ask yourself, where am I pretending things are fine when they're not? What am I telling myself just to avoid facing what I really feel? What part of me is trying to protect me by lying? These aren't comfortable questions, but are necessary ones, because pretending is exhausting. And the moment you stop pretending, even a little, you make space for something better. Sometimes the truth is simple. I'm not happy. I am scared. I miss someone. I don't want this life. I'm angry, but I don't know why. I've been lying to myself about what I really need. It doesn't have to be poetic or perfect, just real. Truth is power, not because it fixes everything, but because it removes the fog. And once the fog is gone, you can see what's actually in front of you. That's when real decisions can begin. The ancients knew this. They didn't have therapists. They had fire, silence, story, song. They sat with themselves and named things. They believed that what is unspoken becomes heavy, but what is spoken, even softly, becomes lighter. They told the truth not just to others, but into the air, into the night, into the earth, because they knew when you give truth a voice, it stops needing to scream. Try this. Find a quiet space. No distractions. No performance. Sit down and say one true sentence out loud that you've been avoiding. Start small. Something like, I'm tired of pretending I'm okay. Or, I'm doing better than I admit, and I'm scared of messing it up. Say it. Let land. You don't need to fix it yet. You just need to stop hiding from it. Here's what happens when you begin to speak the truth. You stop living two lives, the one outside and the one inside. You stop being afraid of your own emotions. You begin to trust yourself more because you know you're not lying to you anymore. Truth builds self-respect, and self-respect builds clarity, and clarity leads to peace. Not because everything becomes perfect, but because you do. You stop chasing versions of yourself that never felt right anyway. Here's another truth. You've always known what you need to say. Maybe it's that a relationship is hurting you. Maybe it's that you've outgrown something or someone. Maybe it's that you're tired of living the life others chose for you. Maybe it's that you're ready to start again, but fear is holding the mic. Whatever it is, it's waiting to be heard. And the first ear it needs is yours. Start telling yourself the truth, even if your voice shakes. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who have all the answers. They're the ones who stop lying to themselves, even when the truth hurts. Because deep down they know it's not the pain that breaks us, it's the pretending. And when you finally say what's real, even if it changes everything, you also change, not into someone new, but into someone honest. And that's where real transformation begins. Break what isn't working without guilt. Some things were never meant to last. Not because they were bad, not because you failed, but because you grew. You changed. You evolved. You looked around and realized, this isn't working anymore. And yet, you stayed. Why? Because we've been taught that quitting is weakness. That breaking things, relationships, careers, identities, even belief systems, means we're selfish, unstable, or ungrateful. But let me offer you something different. What if breaking what doesn't work anymore is not betrayal? What if it's an act of loyalty to your truth? This is the third decision. Break what isn't working without guilt, because guilt is what keeps us stuck in stories that stopped serving us a long time ago. You know the ones. The job that pays the bills but drains your soul. The relationship that looks good from the outside but feels like quiet suffocation. The habits you swore were just temporary but have become your entire identity. The version of yourself you outgrew but are still trying to perform just to keep others comfortable. These aren't just inconveniences. They're cages. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is break the door. Not to escape, but to walk into something more true. Let's be clear. Breaking doesn't mean destruction for the sake of drama. It means honest disruption. It means looking at your life with open eyes and asking, what no longer fits? What have I been maintaining out of obligation, not alignment? Where have I been faithful to something that isn't faithful to me? These are not easy questions. They challenge everything. Your routines, your relationships, your role in the world. But they're necessary because nothing new can grow in a space that's filled with dead roots. The ancients didn't have a luxury of pretending. When something didn't work, they adapted, shifted, let go. If the harvest failed, they didn't keep planning the same way. They changed their rhythm, their tools, their methods, because survival depended on it. And so does your truth. You can't keep watering what's already gone dry. You can't keep carrying structures that were built by someone who no longer exists. Here's the thing about guilt. It often shows up when we stop performing, when you stop playing the role, when you stop faking the smile, when you stop being who they expect you to be. That's when guilt whispers, "How dare you?" But that guilt isn't your guide. It's just the echo of other people's comfort zones. You're not responsible for protecting someone else's idea of who you should be. You are responsible for protecting your integrity. Try this. Make a list. Quietly. Privately. Title it. Things I'm holding that are no longer holding me. Be honest. Be brave. Write down the things, people, habits, roles, dreams, anything that once felt right but now feel heavy. False. Costly. You don't have to act immediately. But just acknowledging what needs to break is the first strike to the wall. Breaking doesn't mean burning it all down. It means making room for something better. And what replaces what you let go of? Possibility, energy, space for who you're becoming. The world may not applaud you. They may ask you to explain. They may guilt you for changing. Let them, because every time you walk away from something false, you walk closer to something real. In your real life, the one your soul has been whispering about, doesn't begin when you please everyone. It begins when you stop lying to yourself just to keep things from falling apart. You're allowed to say, "This worked once, but it doesn't anymore." And that's enough. You're allowed to choose peace over proving, growth over guilt, truth over tradition. Breaking isn't failure. It's freedom. It's how new foundations are laid, how deeper roots are grown, how wiser lives are lived. So take a deep breath. Hold the thing you know isn't working in your hand, in your heart, and say, "Thank you. You brought me here, but I won't carry you further." And then let it go, not in anger, in honesty, because who you're becoming can't thrive in what you're only surviving. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into the decision to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it, because growth doesn't always come through motion. Sometimes it comes through stillness with what hurts. Learn to sit in discomfort, not escape it. We live in a world that teaches us to move fast. Move on, move forward, move away from anything that hurts. Pain is seen as a problem. Discomfort is treated like failure. And silence? That's just the space we rush to fill. But the truth is, some pain isn't meant to be escaped. It's meant to be understood, not fixed, not analyzed, just sat with. This is the fourth decision. Learn to sit in discomfort, not escape it, because escape feels easier. It's faster to scroll than to feel. It's easier to explain your feelings than to actually feel them. It's more convenient to distract than to dig deeper. But here's the secret. What you avoid owns you. What you sit with teaches you. Let's talk about discomfort. Not crisis, not chaos, just discomfort. The knot in your chest you ignore with food. The ache in your heart you mute with overthinking. The truth you delay because facing it would shatter too much. That discomfort is a doorway. It's your soul's signal that something inside you wants your attention. And every time you escape it, even for good reasons, you miss the wisdom it's trying to give you. Think about it. How many feelings have you avoided because they were too much? How many healing moments did you delay because the pain felt too heavy? How much of your story has gone unheard because you were too busy outrunning it? This isn't blame. It's an invitation to stop running, to stop resisting the one thing that could change everything, being with what is real. The ancients didn't escape pain. They ritualized it. They sat with it in silence, in firelight, in song. They gave it names, shapes, even gods, not to worship the pain, but to respect it. Because pain, when honored, becomes passage. When you sit with your discomfort, truly sit, something begins to shift. Not instantly, not dramatically, but slowly, gently, truthfully. So how do you sit in discomfort? You don't need to meditate for hours or analyze every emotion. You just need to stay present with what hurts without needing it to change right away. Try this. The next time something rises, sadness, anxiety, fear, pause. Place a hand over your chest or your stomach. Breathe. And instead of saying, "How do I get rid of this?" ask, "What is this here to show me?" You may not get an answer, but the question itself is healing. Because now, instead of fleeing from yourself, you are meeting yourself. The discomfort might still be there. It might stay for minutes, hours, days, but every time you choose to stay with it, instead of run from it, you strengthen something far more valuable than comfort. You strengthen self-trust. You begin to learn, I can be with pain and not be destroyed by it. I can feel things deeply and still be okay. I don't have to fix everything. I can just be with it. That is power. That is healing. That is the foundation of peace. Here's something else. Some of your most beautiful growth will come after sitting in what you once feared. Clarity doesn't come when you escape discomfort. It comes after you've made space for it. It comes when the storm passes and you're still standing. Not because you fought it, but because you didn't leave. Try creating small rituals of sitting with discomfort. A 10-minute silence in the morning with no phone, no plan. Journaling what you feel without editing it. Letting tears come without needing to make sense of them. Naming emotions without judging them. I feel shame. I feel anger. I feel grief. These practices won't make discomfort go away, but they will make you stronger in its presence. And that kind of strength, it's unshakable because it doesn't depend on control. It depends on connection to yourself, to your truth, to the present. In the moments you want to run, stay. In the moments you want to numb, feel. In the moments you want to explain, listen. This is how you build the kind of resilience the world can't touch. Not because you don't feel pain, but because you've learned how to welcome it. And once you learn to welcome pain, without fear, without resistance, you become free. In the next part, we'll explore the sacred power of boundaries and the decision to say no with clarity, confidence, and compassion. Because protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. Say no and mean it. No is a small word, but for many of us, it's the hardest one to say. We avoid it. We soften it. We dress it up in explanations and apologies. We say yes when everything inside us is screaming no, just to keep the peace. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something you don't want, you're saying no to something you do. Your time, your energy, your mental clarity, your self-respect, all of them have a cost. And the currency is your boundaries. This is the fifth decision. Say no and mean it, not from anger, not to punish, but to protect what's sacred inside you. Because your peace is not a luxury. It's a foundation. And every boundary you set is a brick in that foundation. Let's be real. Saying no isn't easy. You've been conditioned to be liked, to be agreeable, to avoid conflict, especially if you were raised to be a good person. But people-pleasing is not kindness. It's self-abandonment in disguise. And over time, it drains you until you don't recognize your own life because it's full of commitments that aren't truly yours. Saying no is how you reclaim it. Start by asking, what do I constantly say yes to that leaves me feeling resentful, tired, or out of alignment? Where am I violating my own boundaries just to avoid disappointing others? What would change in my life if I began to say no more honestly? These questions are difficult because they often reveal where we've been betraying ourselves. But this isn't about blame. It's about awareness. Because once you see it, you can shift it. The ancients didn't say yes to everything. They lived in rhythm with the seasons. They said no to planting when it was time to rest. No to speaking when it was time to listen. No to battles that weren't theirs to fight. They understood. Saying no is not rejection. It's alignment. Try this. Practice saying no in small, safe situations first, without over-explaining. No, I can't make it this time. No, that doesn't feel right for me. No, thank you. Feel the discomfort. Breathe through it. Notice that you're still okay. The world didn't collapse. You didn't lose your worth. In fact, you just reinforced it. Here's something powerful. When you start saying no clearly, your yes becomes more meaningful. It's no longer automatic. It's intentional. It comes from truth, not pressure. People will begin to trust your words more, not less. And the people who truly respect you, they won't just accept your boundaries. They'll admire them. You are not responsible for other people's comfort with your boundaries. You are responsible for being clear, kind, and firm. And yes, some people will be disappointed. But every time you abandon yourself to avoid disappointing others, you reinforce a dangerous message. Their peace matters more than mine. It doesn't. You matter. Your needs matter. You know matters. Say it. Say it when it's inconvenient. Say it when it shakes your voice. Say it when everything in your nervous system wants to give in, just to avoid tension. Because every time you do, you reclaim a part of yourself that was buried beneath politeness. And the person you are becoming, they don't live in resentment. They live in alignment. So here's your reminder. No is a complete sentence. No is not unkind. No is not a failure. No is a door. And behind it is the life you actually want. Say it and mean it, even if it's quiet at first, even if it's awkward, even if you shake. Because that no, it might be the most loving thing you say all day. In the next chapter, we'll shift from boundaries to bravery and explore how stepping gently into fear can awaken the parts of you that have been waiting to grow. Because the life you long for, it's often just beyond what scares you. Pursue what scares you gently. There's a kind of fear that isn't here to hurt you. It's not the fear of danger or harm. It's not the fear of survival. It's the fear that shows up when something matters deeply. When your soul sees an opportunity to expand, but your nervous system screams. Stay safe. That fear? That's a compass. This is the sixth decision. Pursue what scares you gently. Not forcefully, not recklessly, not in a blaze of no fear bravado, but with honesty, with breath, with intention, because there are parts of you waiting to grow, and they live on the other side of gentle fear. Think about it. The conversation you know you need to have, the dream you keep postponing, the version of yourself you glimpse in quiet moments, bold, alive, free, but don't know how to become. What stops you? Usually, it's not actual threat. It's the fear of judgment, the fear of change, the fear of leaving the comfort of what you've always known. But comfort is not the same as peace. And the life you want, the one that excites and scares you, lives beyond that comfort. The ancients weren't fearless. They just had a different relationship with fear. They saw it as a guardian at the gate, a signal, not a stop sign. Fear meant they were approaching something sacred, something worth paying attention to. So they listened, not to avoid it, but to walk through it wisely. Let's pause. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding not because it's wrong, but because it terrifies me? What does fear try to protect me from? What would happen if I moved toward that fear, just one step? These aren't easy questions, but they reveal your edges. And your edges are where your real life begins. Try this. Don't bulldoze your fear. Don't shout over it. Don't shame it. Sit with it. Say, I see you. I hear you. I know you're trying to protect me, but I'm not in danger. I'm just growing. That reframe changes everything. Because fear doesn't go away when you conquer it. It softens when you meet it with care. Gentle pursuit looks like starting the project quietly, without telling everyone. Asking the hard question, even if your voice shakes. Signing up for the class, even if you feel behind. Telling the truth, even if it changes the relationship. Not because you're ready, but because you're willing. Willingness is the secret. Most people wait for confidence, for perfect timing, for feeling brave. But what if bravery isn't a feeling? What if it's just a choice, repeated gently, again and again? To show up, to stay open, to try, even if it's messy. That kind of bravery builds you. It builds resilience. It builds integrity. It builds a version of you that isn't fearless, but isn't frozen either. The most powerful people aren't the ones who have no fear. They're the ones who've learned how to carry fear without letting it drive. They walk forward anyway, slowly, gently, on shaky legs if they must. But they walk because they know the cost of staying small is greater than the risk of growing. So what scares you? Not the things you know you should avoid, but the things that whisper, this matters. Move toward them, not all at once. Not with pressure, but with care. One breath, one step, one day at a time. And when your fear rises, meet it with grace. Say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm safe now, and I'm ready to grow. In the next chapter, we'll shift from bravery to embodiment and explore what it means to treat your body like someone you respect. Because how you live in your body is how you live in your life. Treat your body like someone you respect. Your body has never lied to you. It has never betrayed you, never abandoned you. It has carried you through every storm, every heartbreak, every long night. It has breathed for you when you forgot to, healed for you when you didn't know how, held you upright when your soul was collapsing. And yet, most of us treat our bodies like an enemy. We criticize it, ignore it, push it, starve it, punish it for not looking like the version we were sold by screens and standards. But your body is not a product. It's not an obstacle. It's not a project to perfect. It is the home you live in. It is the vessel of your experience. It is the oldest, truest witness to your entire life. And it deserves your respect. This is the seventh decision. Treat your body like someone you respect, not someone you're trying to control, not someone you're embarrassed by, not someone you only love when they're improving, but someone you genuinely care for because they are you. Ask yourself, would I speak to a friend the way I speak to my body? Would I push someone I love the way I push myself when I'm tired? Would I withhold kindness from someone just because they didn't look a certain way? If the answer is no, then why do you do it to yourself? This isn't about guilt. It's about awakening. Because you can't build a whole life while being at war with a body that holds it. The ancients didn't separate the body from the spirit. They didn't treat the body as decoration. They honored it, nourished it, danced with it, rested when it ached, ate with reverence, moved with meaning. They understood. The body isn't just where life happens. It is life. You don't need a perfect body. You need a present one, a loved one, a trusted one that starts with small shifts. Not a new diet, not a new workout, a new relationship built on respect. Try this. Start noticing how you speak to your body. Catch the criticism. Pause before the punishment. Replace "I hate this" with "I hear you." When you're tired, rest. When you're hungry, eat. When you're numb, move. And most importantly, when your body is speaking, listen. Pain is a message. Tension is communication. Fatigue is a request for care, not a weakness to overcome. Respect looks different for everyone. For some, it's slowing down. For others, it's reclaiming strength. For many, it's stopping the cycle of shame that's been playing since childhood. Whatever it looks like for you, make this promise. I will no longer treat my body like a machine, a mistake, or a mirror for other people's opinions. I will treat it like someone I love, even on days I don't feel like it. That's what respect is. Not perfection, consistency. Here's something wild. When you start respecting your body, you start trusting yourself more, because the body holds your intuition, your wisdom, your boundaries, your stories. And when you're connected to it, you're more grounded, more aware, more whole. Not just physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So today, choose something kind. Not because your body has earned it, but because it deserves it, because you deserve it, and because every step toward self-respect is a step toward real transformation. In the next chapter, we'll talk about letting go, not just of habits or relationships, but of the stories you've been telling yourself about who you are. Because sometimes the thing holding you back is the version of you that no longer exists. Let go of the old story. Every person carries a story, not just the facts of your life, but the meaning you've given them. These meanings shape everything. Who you think you are, what you believe you're capable of, what you think you deserve, where you allow yourself to go or not go. And here's the hard truth. Some of those stories aren't even yours. They were handed to you by parents who didn't know better, by teachers who underestimated you, by friends who didn't understand you, by a society that measured you with the wrong tools. And little by little, you made their story yours. I'm too much. I'm not enough. I always mess things up. I don't finish what I start. I'm not built for happiness. This is just who I am. But what if it's not? What if that story was written from fear, not truth? This is the 8th decision. Let go of the old story. Not because it never happened, but because it doesn't define you anymore. You're not what happened to you. You are not what others decided for you. You're not the worst thing you've done or the worst thing done to you. You're the one holding the pen now. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to carry the weight of every old version of yourself. Because you've changed, and the story that once protected you might now be the very thing holding you back. Ask yourself, what beliefs about myself do I repeat without questioning? Whose voice do I hear when I doubt myself? What would I do differently if I didn't believe that old story anymore? These questions can shake you because they make you realize you've been living inside a script that someone else started writing, and it's time to edit. The ancients were master storytellers, but they knew the difference between truth and myth. They passed down wisdom, not as unchangeable rules, but as evolving meaning. They honored the past without becoming trapped by it. Because to heal, you don't erase the old story. You rewrite it. Try this. Write down the old narrative. Something like, I always quit. I'm bad at relationships. I don't deserve love. I'm not creative. I'm too broken to change. Now challenge it. Ask, is this absolutely true? Where did I learn this? What if I'm wrong? Then rewrite it. Not with toxic positivity, but with honesty and possibility. I've quit before, but I can choose different now. I've struggled in love, but I'm learning how to connect. I'm healing, and healing people grow. I may be scared, but I'm still capable. Letting go of the old story is scary, because even pain feels safe when it's familiar. But the more you repeat it, the deeper the groove becomes. And one day you wake up and realize you've been living the same chapter in different scenery. But you don't have to. You can leave the page. You can write new lines. You can tell a story that expands, not shrinks, who you are. Here's the truth. You are allowed to outgrow old identities. You are allowed to no longer resonate with who you once were. You are allowed to look at your past and say, thank you for getting me here, but I don't live there anymore. You are not a fixed character. You are a dynamic story, still unfolding. And when you let go of the scripts written in fear, guilt, shame, or survival, you make space for something else. A story built from intention, from love, from who you're becoming, not who you used to be. In the final chapter, we'll talk about the everyday power of decision and how becoming who you're meant to be is not one big moment. It's a daily choice. Because the story of your life, you're writing it right now. Choose who you become every day. There's a myth that change happens all at once. That one day you wake up transformed, clear, confident, strong. But real change, it doesn't announce itself. It happens in whispers, in tiny choices, in 1,000 ordinary moments that no one sees. The final decision is this. Choose who you become every day, not once, not when things are perfect, not when you're ready, but daily. Because becoming is not a destination. It's a practice. Every day, you wake up with a choice. Will I stay in the story I've always told myself? Or write a new one? Will I reach for distraction or presence? Will I shrink from fear or move gently toward it? These choices don't require perfection. They require intention. You won't always get it right. Some days you'll forget. Some days you'll go backward, fall into old patterns. Say yes when you meant no. Run when you meant to stay. Doubt when you wanted to trust. But that doesn't erase your progress. Because every time you remember, every time you return, every time you choose again, you're building something. Who you become is not shaped by grand moments. It's shaped in the quiet ones. When no one's watching, when a decision seems small, when your past whispers loudly, but you still reach forward. That's where transformation lives. Not in the spotlight, in the shadows, in the kitchen, in the car ride, in the second you pause before reacting. So here's the truth. Becoming who you were meant to be isn't about finding something new. It's about remembering who you already are and choosing daily to live like that person is real. Because they are. They've always been inside you, waiting. You're not your past. You are not your fear. You are not your failures. You are the chooser. And today, like every day, you get to choose. Will I carry the old weight or set it down? Will I be true to myself or perform again? Will I move with fear or stay frozen in it? Every answer rewrites your story. Every choice plants a seed. So let today be a beginning. Not because you feel ready, but because you're willing. Willing to try again. Willing to listen inward. Willing to build a life that feels like home, inside and out. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Final message to the listener from Past Unboxed. You just walked through 9 powerful decisions. Each one's simple, but not easy. each one personal but universal. Each one a small act of rebuilding, remembering, and returning to your truest self. If this audiobook stirred something in you, even quietly, we invite you to pause, breathe, reflect, and then share it. Send it to someone who needs a gentle nudge forward. Subscribe to Past Unboxed for more soul-deep audiobooks. Leave a comment. Let us know which part moved you most. Help others discover this, because wisdom grows when it's shared. You're not alone in this journey, and the person you're becoming, they're already proud of you. Until next time, stay steady, stay honest, stay becoming. Sending you our very best wishes from all of us at Past Unboxed, Audiobooks Town.